Enjoying the show? You can help others find it and enjoy it too by giving us a 5-star rating or review. If you feel like reaching out to us with a question or comment, you can send us an email at mywifetherd@gmail.com. And don't forget to visit our website at mywifethedietitian.com, as well as our social media pages. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Enjoy the show. It's Rob and Sandra from My Wife the Dietitian, and this is Nutrition Nuggets.
Hey, Rob.
Hello, Sandra.
I got a listener question, or we did, and I thought we could address it on this one.
Sounds good.
Okay. The listener question, so there's a bit of a backstory here. She says, I'm addicted to coffee, and I think it's affecting my anxiety. Plus, I'm starting to have stomach pain. I'm afraid of the symptoms of withdrawal. Do I need to just quit cold turkey?
Good question.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's one of those questions that I'm sure she's not alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, remember our case study? We talked about Tammy, in quotes, the other day on breakfast or breaking the fast.
Yeah.
Part of the issue for her was she was basically running on caffeine and coffee all morning.
Right.
So it kind of ties in with that one a little bit.
Yeah.
Different person, but.
Yeah. I mean, although coffee has its own issues, I mean, pros and cons, but I mean, yeah, I think for Tammy, that was part of the whole picture, but coffee can be its own kind of issue.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I speak from experience.
Okay.
As do many of us. I think everyone knows, the issues that coffee presents, and thus the battle of you get addicted to it, right? You get addicted to that energy or the appearance of energy or the feeling of energy, I guess, and what coffee does, and then you think you need it, and it's this evil cycle.
Right. Yeah. And I think it's so physically it can be addictive, but psychologically, socially.
Totally.
I mean, it's a habit, right? Like it's, I love waking up and having coffee.
Oh, I do too.
It tastes good. I look forward to it. I know
it smells good.
Many people say that they think about it as they go into bed. It's like, I can't wait to have my coffee in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, we know that there is a gene that is responsible for breaking down the caffeine in the system. So some people don't have that enzyme in the liver. The liver doesn't detoxify the caffeine as quickly as other people. Okay. So you can be caffeine sensitive.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah. So that is also a factor in that. If you do get jittery or anxious after having coffee or caffeine, then you might have that sensitivity, and maybe your body doesn't break it down as easily as people that have that enzyme.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So that's part of it. But do you know, we did a couple episodes, episode 16, sleep problems and caffeine.
Right.
And we did another one on coffee, the ups and downs. So episode 45.
Yes.
But part of how caffeine works in the brain, it doesn't actually give you energy.
No, it's the illusion of energy. That's the word I was looking for before. That's the illusion of energy.
Well, okay. So what's happening biochemically is it stops you from feeling tired.
Right.
Because it blocks the adenosine. So there's a neurotransmitter in the brain, adenosine, that helps you feel sleepy. And what happens is, if you think of like a door, so the door opens, the adenosine makes you feel sleepy, and the caffeine locks into those receptors, and it's almost like it's locking the door.
Oh, interesting.
And so it's not allowing you to feel sleepy.
That's why, like, if you're like, back in school, you're doing like the all-nighter studying and you're just drinking tons of coffee, you are tired, but your body is just refusing to sleep. And you get this really crazy feeling, right? Where you're just like, I don't even know what it's called, but I'm sure people...
Tired and wired?
Well, yeah, it's you're not awake. So like you said, it isn't giving you energy, Because if it was giving you energy, you'd feel good, you'd feel alive, and like, yeah, let's go. But you feel like tired, and your body's just like, "Ugh, I'm done." But you're like wide awake, and you're like wired, and it's a crazy feeling.
Yeah, it totally is. And definitely, I mean, it impacts the nervous system. So, it has an effect on like the fight or flight, because it's also related to adrenaline. So it can impact that. And if you're already having anxiety or you feel anxious and you're adding caffeine or coffee onto that, that's going to affect how well you cope that day.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So how much is too much with caffeine?
I don't know if there's a black and white answer, right? I think it probably depends on your own level of what's too much.
Yeah. Well, okay. So 400 milligrams of caffeine, so 3 to 4 cups of coffee typically is considered, safe for adults. But that is it can be individualized in terms of if you do get jittery, anxious, if you're caffeine sensitive. A lot of people know, like they know that.
You'd know. If I had 4 cups of coffee, I'd be spinning. Yeah, totally. And definitely, kids and teens and pregnancy, people who are pregnant should have less. So 200 milligrams is the kind of maximum. Right.
But, again, as I said, it's very individual, because if you have that gene that metabolizes caffeine, then you're more likely to, it gets out of your system.
True. Okay.
But we did talk about the half-life of caffeine, meaning that if you're having caffeine 7 hours before you go to sleep, you'll still be having the effects of the caffeine.
Which is like your afternoon cup of coffee, which often, this is what I used to do. I used to, for whatever reason, probably diet related, I would kind of feel like I was just dragging my heels mid-afternoon. I'm like, oh, I need a coffee. I thought like coffee will wake me up, right? And it did.
Yeah.
It helped.
Yes.
Or once again, it was the illusion of feeling more awake. But yeah, then I couldn't sleep.
Right.
10 o'clock at night, I'd still be like, hey, I'm ready. I'm counting sheep. I'm doing it all. But yeah, I'm not, it's not happening.
That's right. Because actually, it's so interesting. Basically, when you wake up in the morning, you're getting ready for a good night's sleep that night coming up. So you think about all the things you do during the day, it's going to affect your sleep that night. So most people can tolerate a cup of coffee or some caffeine in the morning when they wake up. If you're having it later in the day, so afternoon, like you were doing, that is probably going to affect how well you fall asleep or your quality of sleep that night.
Right.
And I think looking back on what you were doing, maybe you weren't having a big enough breakfast with like lots of plant foods, like, the diversity we talk about, the variety of like a really robust breakfast.
You know what it is? It's like I said, it's a whole cycle. I wasn't getting to sleep on time. So then by the time I fell asleep and got my 8 hours of sleep, and then I woke up in the morning, it was late when I got up, and then I'm rushed and I don't have time to eat. So I just throw something quick together, and then the cycle continues.
This vicious cycle.
Yeah,
exactly. I think that's what's happening too, maybe to this listener too, so I'm addicted to coffee, and I think it's affecting my anxiety. Plus, I'm starting to have stomach pain, and I'm afraid of the symptoms of withdrawal. Do I need to just quit cold turkey?
Stomach pain, I remember that too. I used to call it gut rot. And it felt like I drank so much coffee that it was just was like eating my gut lining.
Yes.
That's what it felt like.
Yes.
And yeah, I definitely can give you that if you drink enough. And one question before, you were saying the 3 to 4 cups is kind of not recommended, but the upper limit maybe. Is that over the course of like your waking hours kind of thing? Or yeah. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
So spread out over the day.
Except if you're having sleep problems, then you probably don't want to have anything after noon.
Yeah.
pretty much, right?
And you definitely don't want to have 4 cups before noon either, because I don't think that's going to
well, that's the
feel
thing,
too
right?
good either. So yeah.
Everyone's different. There are people, and I mean, your tolerance grows too. So the more coffee you have, then the more you can have, which isn't necessarily a good thing. Because I mean, part of the issue too is if it's a appetite
suppressant.
Yes. Then you're not going to eat, and people think, oh, that's great, less calories. But it's not great because you're not fueling your body. You're not going to get that energy because you're going to be wired and tired and not get enough calories. You're going to have cravings and eat like junky food later in the day.
Yep.
It's kind of a vicious cycle.
Yeah, it really is.
Totally. So, yeah, and it is a gut irritant like caffeine is. So if you are having acid reflux or problems with stomach acid, coffee is going to probably worsen that.
Right.
So it really depends. Like, I don't think you need to just quit cold turkey. You could do like half and half, decaf and regular.
That's what we do, and it's awesome.
So we're like cutting it in half basically because, okay, I'm going to just give you an idea of the spectrum of different drinks and the caffeine level.
Okay.
So a cup of coffee, an 8-ounce cup or 250 mils.
A full caffeinated coffee.
Oh, yeah, regular coffee.
Okay.
Drip. And it's going to vary a little bit depending on French press, drip. Is it a percolator? Does it have the paper lining in?
Yeah, the filter.
The filter.
Right.
Because that filter actually helps to reduce some of the oils in the coffee grounds that can actually increase your cholesterol.
Oh, interesting.
So if you so that's another thing, like filter the coffee, like have the paper filter that will reduce that effect.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So coffee is about 90 to 100 milligrams of caffeine.
Per 8-ounce cup.
Yeah.
Wow.
Depending on how you brew it. And then espresso, like a 1-ounce shot, is 63 milligrams. So pretty high.
Oh yeah, but it's tiny, but it's concentrated. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. Black tea. So a cup of black tea is 40 to 70 milligrams.
Right. Okay.
Green tea, a little bit less than black tea. So 25 to 45 milligrams. The oolong tea is 30 to 50 milligrams.
Okay.
Oh, speaking of tea, we did an episode 165, tea health benefits of tea. And that was all about black tea.
Yeah, a couple of different teas. There's one
green
that we did.
Tea.
Yeah, black.
And oolong.
White and oolong, I think.
Oolong. Okay, so oolong. So I said the green tea is 25 to 45 milligrams. Oolong is 30 to 50 milligrams.
Okay.
Matcha. So a teaspoon of the powder is 60 to 70 milligrams. So it's more than the green tea.
Okay.
But it comes from green tea. So it's basically, and we're going to do a whole episode on matcha.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
So maybe it's like a concentrated green tea. That's why it's a bit more caffeine
exactly.
or something.
Yeah, it is concentrated. You got it. Yerba mate.
I used to drink that.
You went through a stage, I remember,
I liked
20
that.
years ago. Yeah. 65 to 68 milligrams. Hot chocolate, a cup of hot chocolate, 5 to 15 milligrams. Decaf, very little, not 0, but 2 to 5 milligrams.
Right.
And then herbal tea is 0.
Okay.
So that's kind of the spectrum. So should you quit cold turkey? You don't necessarily have to. I think that would present a lot of issues for you, I think, in terms of just the withdrawal symptoms, the headaches, the feeling of loss. I think you could probably, if you could, do half and half, decaf and regular, and then eventually maybe just decaf.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, like we said in the beginning, how coffee is more than just physical. It's social, it's cultural, it's part of your routine. And obviously you get the physical kick from it too. So a lot of the, I'll call it addiction to coffee, it comes from all of those factors. So you can still control most of those by having, like Sandra said, half and half. you're still getting your hot coffee in the morning. You still can have coffee with friends. It's still part of your routine. You're just reducing the caffeine in it. So it's not going to feel like as big of a hit as just quitting it completely and drinking milk or something instead. Like it's kind of just like cutting back a little bit. You're still doing it, but just not as much.
Mm-hmm. I don't think it's as extreme or as black and white.
No, it isn't. It isn't as extreme at all.
And the other thing is, if you have your breakfast first, so you wake up and have some water to drink and breakfast and then have coffee, then at least you have something in your stomach. Mm-hmm. That will be better for the gut irritant aspect and also for thyroid issues, because that's the other thing. If you're struggling with thyroid, the caffeine can influence that, especially if you're fasting and then just drinking coffee. That's going to really do a number on your gut and also on other hormones and your thyroid.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, a lot of people that I see are wired and tired or basically underfed and overstressed. They're just not eating, especially in the morning. And so coming back to that episode we did about breaking the fast, this kind of links in with that. And I really think that, if you're having issues around anxiety, gut problems, feeling stressed and anxious, revisit and look at your caffeine intake over the day.
Exactly. Yeah, it plays a big role for sure.
And it might not just be coffee, as I mentioned before. I mean, that's the other thing. You could have a tea instead of the coffee. It's got a lot less caffeine, mm-hmm. and it still kind of can give you that sense of warm beverage, the ritual of drinking the coffee. Like if that's part of it, is the warm beverage in the morning, that would be totally a good switch.
Yeah, I think that's a huge part of it for people. It's like, you have a coffee on your way to work or when you're watching your kid's soccer game, or like there's a huge element of routine when it comes to coffee, but it doesn't have to be regular coffee. It can be decaf. It doesn't have to be coffee at all. It can be tea or matcha or yerba mate is really good. I was on that for a long time. And
on it.
Yeah.
Sounds like
totally
a drug.
on it.
Totally.
Yeah,
it's like the most common. Coffee is like 85% of the population drinks coffee. It is definitely the most common legal stimulant.
Yeah.
In our culture in North America. But the thing also with coffee is a lot of times you're layering the sugars, the syrups, the whipped cream.
Yes.
And so that's not great either, because you're just getting a sugary beverage.
Exactly. And I got rid of that stuff too. I switched to drinking black, which made a huge difference because it was just so much added sugar and fat that I didn't need. And so, yeah, lots of options. So there you go. Check out those other episodes as well. We'll link them in the show notes because there's some really good information in those.
Episode 16, sleep problems. Episode 45, coffee, the ups and downs. And episode 165, tea and the health benefits.
Exactly. There are other sources of caffeine too. We're not going to get into that here, but I think in those episodes we discussed them. But you've got your energy drinks and different foods that have caffeine, but just be aware of that as well if you are having issues with caffeine and staying awake and not feeling good. And
medicines.
Well, true. Yeah. So there you go. That is it for today. If you want more information on what we are doing, check out our website. It's mywifethedietitian.com. We've got a great weekly newsletter. You can sign up for it. It's free. You can find the link for that on the website. If you have questions like our listener did today, feel free to shoot us an email. Let us know what you'd like to know, and we'll turn it into an episode. Like we say with most questions, if you have it, most other people probably do too. So don't be afraid to ask. There's no bad questions. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And feel free to reach out to us there as well. We love hearing your feedback and questions and all that sort of stuff. And if you're liking the show, let us know. We love any kind of feedback. It helps us just keep things rolling forward here. And we want to make sure that we're giving you the information that you want and that you need. So don't be afraid to write a review or give us a rating or a thumbs up, or somehow let us know that you're enjoying it or not. We're happy to hear that too, because then we can adapt. We're very adaptable. You can also share with your friends. That's another way to help us out, help your friend out. And it feels good to share, right? Sharing always feels good. So yeah, if you're liking it, let your friends know. So that is it for this week. We will be back on Monday with another full episode. So until then, have a fantastic week, everyone. Thanks for joining us today on My Wife the Dietitian. If you like what you heard, don't be shy. Leave us a comment or review, and be sure to share our podcast with your friends. If you'd like to hear more, hit that subscribe button. You can also follow us on our social media pages for updates, episode trailers, and other odds and ends. For more info and links on what we discussed on today's episode, check the show notes. We'll be back next week with another informative and fun-filled episode.